What's going on, everyone? It's Purple Haze here with my more thoughts on the Switch 2 Direct that just happened the other day. And this time, I'm going to be talking about some winners and losers with the Switch 2, or at least how I see it. So, first, with one of the winners, I would have to say Nintendo fans were awarded immensely with the Switch 2 launch. Uh, from what I've seen, basically every criticism that Nintendo's had from other launches, whether it's saying not having the publisher support, or whether it's saying, hey, like you're not launching with that many day and date titles, or whether you're saying like some of the features um that we're missing, specifically chat. I thought Switch 2 really delivered. And if you're a Nintendo fan, I think you really, really, really got your money's worth with what you saw on uh, during the direct. However, a big time loser, and this is going to be maybe controversial, is anyone thinking about making their own handheld gaming device. Now, I think Switch has already shown, like, well, in a couple of ways, they've raised the bar. I've always thought Steam Deck was an amazing deal just because of the Steam library and the Steam storefront. But if you're not in those two, you really have to think that there's probably only room for one more. And that other company has to be something that's really blowing it out the water on specs if you really want it. But after that, I don't really see how there's going to be a viable market for handhelds with what we just saw from the Switch. Sure, I think that's going to be a little bit of controversy there, but in reality, we see this across the board in multiple parts of the hardware industry, whether it's from uh, it's consoles in general, whether it's cell phones. We usually only see like one, two to maybe three top tier competitors, and then the other ones kind of just drop down. The quality goes down, and so forth. This is in e-readers. We see this in laptops. We see this and tablets. It's just how it is, and I think Switch 2 is definitely going to cement itself as like a leader in the handheld gaming market. All right, let's go to another one of the winners. So, another one of the winners, in my opinion, has to be accessibility. People who, whether they want a gaming device that can do both really well, that means console as well as handheld, whether that's someone who really has like a physical disability. I just think Nintendo this time really nailed the accessibility side of things. Don't get me wrong, I think other console makers have been doing this for a while. But for Nintendo, this has again been a criticism for them in the past that not all of their gaming devices were that accessible. But this time, I think they made some really big strides in that, whether it's audio visual, whether it's just the form factor, thinking about the mouse and what that can do, whether it's thinking about having this ecosystem of devices to allow people to potentially talk and chat and do things within the game. Again, this is probably an area where Nintendo's catching up, but to me, that's a winner for people who like Nintendo but did not go there for some accessible reason. All right. Who's another big time loser? Another big time loser are people who want game prices to not go up. I already made a video about this in the previously, but in general, these people, they can see the writing on the wall. If Nintendo's willing to reach $80, even though they're not going to do that for all their games, if they're willing to do that for 80, you can almost assure that's going to become the baseline for a lot of publishers. And oh, by the way, it probably is going to surpass it when we start to talk about something like Grand Theft Auto 6. And so those whispers of potentially $100, $100+ for a game are looking a lot more real. So I would say this cohort is always fighting a losing battle just because of inflation. And this time they definitely took an L and they can see the writing on the wall. So for them, obviously no one likes to pay more prices, but for that cohort that is really, really, really conscious of price, this was not good news to hear from them. All right, we're gonna go with another winner. And this one is maybe not as big for some people, but for me, it definitely is. And that is fans of Nintendo IP that really has not gotten that much love. So I think going out with Donkey Kong as kind of one of your marquee launch titles is really big. Donkey Kong is an IP that really hasn't gotten that much love throughout the years when we think about what Zelda has done and we think about what Mario has done. But bringing in Donkey Kong, that is like an OG Nintendo IP, and having them be kind of a pillar, I definitely could see like a Donkey Kong movie coming out. I could definitely see more Donkey Kong games coming out. I could just see the fan base for Donkey Kong becoming bigger. So really, like anybody who's a fan of IP from Nintendo that has not really got the same love, thinking about you, Star Fox, thinking about you, F10. I think this is a good news that Nintendo's really kind of like, hey, we're willing to go out with this one. Same thing with Kirby that we're seeing later in the year, like potentially going down the line you could see Nintendo really starting to dig into their IP, which they have a lot of it, and starting to pull things out. So hats off to you, Nintendo. Um, the final group I'm going to say that is probably taking an L right now is people who are not fans of exclusivity. So one thing we have not heard in a long time is Nintendo third-party exclusive. We saw that from Software, one of the biggest names in gaming right now. And even though I'm not going to say if that game's going to be a success or not, the fact of the matter is that Nintendo's willing to make these type of deals. So those people who want exclusive content, they definitely are taking an L right now, or do not want exclusive content. They're taking an L because it seems like Nintendo's going down this path and they're willing to do it. They're willing to make those type of deals as well as publishers making them. But those are my 3 winners, 3 losers. Let me know what you think. Who are some of the winners? Who are some of the losers? Love to know your thoughts. But with that said, I don't care where you game, how you game, why you game, what you game on, how long you've been gaming. As long as you're gaming, you're good with me. And as always, this is Purple Haze, and the proof is in the plane. All right, take care, y'all. Later.